Howdy, everyone. My name is Ryan Slattery, and I'm one of the instructional librarians here at UT Dallas McDermott Library. Thank you for joining me as we talk about Google Scholar. So you may already have heard of Google, but Google Scholar is just one of those academic search engines that's spun up by Google. And despite the name, it's actually very different, works differently from Google. And I'm going to walk you through on what are the benefits and constraints of using Google Scholar, and how to connect Google Scholar with our library resources, how to do basic search, how to do advanced search, and just walk you through what Google Scholar actually is and how it can benefit you. One of the key things I want to take away from this is that Google Scholar is just not an end-all thing just because it's Google. It is intended to complement your research efforts and using other databases through the UT Dallas Library website. I just want to make sure that you're using it to add to your search strategy instead of just using it as like a one-stop thing. So, Google is very similar. Google is, you type in a keyword like pizza and you get all the pizza joints around your house. You get recipes for pizza. It's very broad. It's a very broad search engine. And Google Scholar works similar in that functionality, except it searches academic materials. It searches for journals, searches for books reviews, conference presentations, all that. It's incredibly broad, and then tries to limit the scope to only academic materials, but sometimes it can dip into other areas as well. What Google Scholar is really effective is in making you aware that something exists, something's out there for you to find, even though you may not be able to access it right away. So it reaches into a bunch of disciplines and subject areas. It can go electrical engineering, it can go into English literature, it's just very, very broad. And so it's a great starting point because you can conduct a broad search for scholarly literature from just about everywhere. You can find related articles and you build up a network of resources for your research. And it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's not complicated. There's no fancy database terminology that you have to learn or anything like that. You just type in keywords and then you just go from there. That is also a benefit, but also a constraint. It is incredibly basic as a search engine and as a database. It is not intended to be a replacement for a subject-specific database like EBSCO or ProQuest or any of those other databases you might find through our library website. And it's, as I said, it's incredibly broad, which may make it harder for you to really dig into those niche areas. If you're trying to do historical research, you may not be able to go into those really niche and pull up those scanned letters, from the 18th century, whatever. Is not going to capture that. You have to go into a subject-specific database for that in order to find those. And of course, you can't access everything through Google Scholar. It just letting you know is something that is out there, and you may not be able to access it, and you still have to go through our library, or you have to request the item through interlibrary loan, and so on and so forth. So I want to walk you through on how to actually use Google Scholar, but I will also want to show you how to set up Google Scholar so that way it connects to our library resources. So right here, we are on Google Scholar. You can see it is very much like the usual Google search, but up here in the upper left corner, you have my profile, my library, and then 3 dashes right here. So if you were to click on that and go to settings right here, okay, you click on that, and then you go to library links. So you already have it set up here, but what you're going to do is you're going to type in University of Texas at Dallas, and then you'll see what pops up. So because I've already selected those, let's just save that and there. You see those options right there. I don't know why there's two of those in here. It might be an error on Google's end. So you just click on both of those and put request full text. Make sure that you're accessing everything that Google Scholar has to offer to you through UT Dallas. Hi.
I can explain why there's two different ones. One is pulling from the data that comes from Discover, from Primo, and the other is coming from our link resolver, just to make sure that we're covering all the publications, because some of them aren't visible in each respective source.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris.
Sure.
Okay. And then you hit save, and then you set up so that way whenever you search something, let's say, African American folklore, and then you see here, and then you see get it at UTD right here, along with some like links. So what that actually does, if you click on this, it takes you directly to the UTD library page right here. You can see all that information, and you can see what database is available through. So it's a great way to just go straight to an article and then access it through our database. So it's really helpful because in some places like this, you see up top is a link that takes you to like a free version, but not all of the articles going to have that. And so Google will see if we have access to it and then just link straight you to UT Dallas. So make sure to have that set up before starting any of your searches. So, okay, so Google Scholar is very basic. You just saw what I just did. I just typed in something and went along with it. And then on the left here, we have some filters, very basic. You can set up filters for like articles published since 2017. You can sort it by date. You can include patents, citations, so on and so forth. Incredibly basic. And honestly, you don't really get much more than this, which is another reason why you want to use a subject-specific database through our library website, because the filters offer you more granularity and more options to choose from. Like, for example, if you go to PubMed, you can, when you're searching up studies, you can search from like patient types, you can search specific types of studies, you can search all sorts of things, and you don't really get that kind of option through Google Scholar. So let's just keep that in mind. So here, okay. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to depend on this. This is basic search. But if you were to go here and click on this, you can construct an advanced search. And so you can create, like, let's say you want something specifically music therapy as a phrase. And then you want something with like at least dementia, just music therapy help dementia. And then maybe you want articles published within after 2000 and 2010, I don't know. And then you get that. And so you can see what that does. It automatically formats the article search for you. You get all of that. So, but as I said, advanced search is still, it might be more advanced than basic search, but it's still very basic. And so, again, you do want to go to a specific database for more search options. So, here's the thing. Boolean operators, if you're familiar with those, they work a little differently in Google Scholar. When you search for terms in Google Scholar, for example, music therapy, it automatically combines the two words using and. The and is invisible, and so you don't need to use that when you're doing a search through Google Scholar. However, if you want to search for things as a phrase, then you put quotation marks around it. But if you want, let's say you want articles about music therapy, but you don't want dementia in it, you you can't use not, because not doesn't really work in Google Scholar. Instead, what you have to do is put a minus next to the word dementia, and it will remove the dementia from the search. So just it's a little weird, and you have to get used to that. So, is there any questions so far? No. Okay. So another reason I really like Google Scholar is because, let's see here. Whoops. And here we go. Okay, so one of the reasons I really like Google Scholar is because of the cited by. It's a great way to find additional resources. Like, for example, if you found a really cool article that is really relevant to your research and you want to find more about it, maybe the issue is that it was published in like 1986, it's like old, and you want to see if you can find newer articles based on that research, you click the cited by right here. And it'll bring up all the research that cites that specific article. It's usually newer articles. And then if you were to click on this search within cited articles, click on that, and then do another search like within that. And then it searches for all the articles that cited that and using the keywords that you use. So it's a great way to like build like a little network of articles, you know, and great way to find newer research and so on and so forth. Another reason you might be interested in using Google Scholar is because you have the little quotation mark right here. You click on that and you get citations, example citations, you know, MLA, APA, Chicago, Harvard. So you can just copy paste those and put that into your paper or whatever assignment you're working on. However, I do want to note that these are generated by a computer. They may not be 100% accurate. It'll probably get you like the most of the way there. It is on you to double check the citation, make sure it's accurate, because some of them might be inconsistent. They might have left out the journal that they're located in. They might have messed up the author's name. Maybe they didn't put all the authors in there, you know, so double check that. You make sure you want to go into the actual article and look at the details and make sure that they match to the citation you're given and fix it up if necessary. So, okay, let's go back here and then let's see. Another reason you might want to use Google Scholar is you can quickly add articles to your library. If you were to click the little star icon right here and hit save and save and save. Yeah, here's the thing. If you want to save articles to your library so you can find them later, you have to create a Google account with them. You know, it's really easy. Get a Gmail account, 1, 2, 3, you get signed up. And then you click here, My Library. And then you can see all the articles that you've saved so far. So you can label them if you want. So let's see, boring article, create. And then you can just label them as article for review later, and so on and so forth. Again, it's a little basic, but you know what? It gets the job done and it works for people, you know. So it's really up to you to evaluate and see if you want to use this or if you want something a little more complicated, a little bit more intensive, and so on and so forth. So now, as I said before, Google Scholar can really connect you to free articles online, elsewhere. But you have to make sure that sometimes it can link you to like a preprint proof. It can link to different versions of an article. It may not necessarily be the most up-to-date version of the article. And you want to make sure you're getting the most recent article. But you know what? If you're just trying to read something, this is a great way. And if for whatever reason, you're trying to find an article through our library website and we don't have it, before submitting into Librarian request, try searching up that article in Google Scholar and see if there has a free copy of the article somewhere. If you just need to read it, you just need to get your hands on it, it's a great way to find a free copy of the article. So another thing I really like about Google Scholar is that there's a bookmark clip right here, an extension that you can install to your browser. And so you can just do quick searches and then save that. And then you could just you see a quick search right here. And then you hit this, and it just replicates Google Scholar right there in your browser, so you don't have to go straight to Google Scholar. You can just hit that little button right there and do a quick search, and so on and so forth. So it's free to install, and every major browser should have it, like Firefox, Google Chrome, Internet Explorer. If you really want to use that, not recommended. But so. Any questions? Okay, so just sum it up. Google Scholar is a great way to get started on your research. It's quick, it's easy, it's broad. You just go pow, pow, pow. It helps you find other related articles, but it is not a replacement for going into the more intensive databases. Like if you're doing a medical article search, you want to use PubMed or Medline, you can use Google Scholar, but it's really recommended that you use both in conjunction with each other, and make sure that you're not relying on Google Scholar overly, because it is, as I said, it's incredibly broad, and you want to make sure you're getting all the articles that you could possibly get to help complete your paper, your research assignment, whatever. Okay, that's about it for today. And if there are no questions, thank you very much for watching. And if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to us through the library website. We're available on chat. You can talk to us on email. You can call us, so on and so forth. Thank you all, and have a wonderful day.